Yo, what is going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today we're back with some more of the house in Fata Morgana. Okay, a lot to cover. So, first off, I'm sorry if you hear my fan in the background. It is absolutely fucking baking in my room right now, so I need it on or else I will not survive. Also, last episode was fucking wild. So, if you didn't see last episode, go ahead and watch it. Also, I just in general recommend watching the whole series. This game so far has been amazing, and I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. We are on the road to 200 subscribers. Let's make it happen. Thank you very much. But last time we left off, we discovered that Michael, or as both we have discovered and as one of my lovely viewers has pointed out, the name is actually pronounced Michelle, I believe. So that's how we're going to be pronouncing his name from now on. But another thing, Michelle is not a he. Michelle is a she. So, there you go. Okay, so we don't know the extent of this. We don't know if she is pretending to be a he. We don't know if she has to any capacity has become a he. All we know is that Giselle is not happy about it, or at the very least doesn't seem happy about it. We don't know because we were shown a scene where Morgana exposed Michelle's secret to Giselle, and Giselle basically told her that you're disgusting. So I'm gonna be referring to Michelle as a her for right now because I don't know, but that's with the information I have, that's what I'm going off of. But again, we don't know if that whole expose of Michelle's secret was real or not, because we've seen multiple times that Morgana has the ability to show us, fake illusions appearing real. So we're not quite sure yet, but all we do know is that we got to kind of pick ourselves up from here. I do believe we are in the middle of kind of going through Michelle's actual backstory. So what we have so far is that she was basically born into obviously a very wealthy family. One of her brothers was an artist, the other brother was a soldier. And Michelle was kind of very sheltered because she was born with this very pale white skin, white hair, red eyes. She's very unique, but she can't go out in the sun very long because her skin's sensitive to it. So she's kind of been kept in the house, and her mother has been very, very adamant about keeping her, womanly. Like, don't watch your brothers train. That's not going to help you. You should go and sew. You should go and do these womanly things and yada, yada, yada. The rundown. And so Michelle's basically like, no, I want to become a soldier like my brother. I want to learn how to use the sword. I want to, join the Knight's Order. And so now that's kind of coming to a boiling point where she's confessed these feelings to her brother. And he's basically told her, like, listen, you can't do that, basically. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on back into it. That was a very long intro, but we had a lot to cover. So, see how it goes. Heavy clouds filled the sky, blocking out the sun and giving the impression of late evening all throughout the day. I, for one, preferred it when the sun wasn't out. Not that sunlight would kill me, but if it was bright enough, the whole world was so white that I could hardly see a thing, which meant I could only go outside on days when the weather made most everyone else gloomy. As I was meandering through the courtyard, I spotted someone I had never seen before. A warm breeze blew past, sending up a swirl of flower petals. The girl's dress hung lightly over her frame, tracing her gentle curves. "Who are you?" I asked bluntly, and the girl twirled around, smiling. "My apologies. You just have such a beautiful courtyard here. I let myself in for a little walk." Long chestnut hair flowed over round feminine shoulders. Oh god, this game is loud. It swayed slightly in the wind. The cloud of melancholy dissipated in the light of her smile. "You must be Michelle. You're just as pretty as I heard." "And you are?" "My name is Amy. It's a pleasure to finally meet you." Finally meet me? What is she talking about? I don't know if I gave them accents or not. We're rolling with no accents for now. As I stood there baffled by this strange woman, she stepped toward me, kissing me softly on the cheek. "I'm thrilled to make your acquaintance, Michelle." Her voice was like someone pouring honey into my ear, electrifyingly sweet. "I'm Georgette's fiancé." And it also stuck another needle into my chest. She was a noble girl by the name of Amy Gilbert. Though only 15, she was the very image of refined, polished to a shine. No one had told me my brother was to be married. It came out of nowhere, and it seemed like I was the only one who didn't know. That evening, when the family gathered around the table for supper, Amy was there too, and they prepared an extravagant feast for the occasion. My father, Antonin, looked so proud of his two boys. Didier soon to receive his assignment, and Georgette soon to be wed. The banquet proceeded smoothly. Not a doubt in the air that we were a happy family, but my mind was elsewhere. I found myself unconsciously chasing Amy with my eyes, watching the way those slender fingers gripped her spoon, her full lips parting to allow piece of fruit in, her deep red tongue, visible for but the briefest of moments, the way all the muscles in her face seemed to relax in bliss as sweet juices seeped into her mouth, the way she spoke, so soft and gentle, letting each sound hang in the air just briefly before intoning the next. She was distinctly feminine, in a way different from my mother. Apparently, Amy was going to be living at the Bollinger estate for some time. Mother was pleased to have another girl around. Or, more specifically, she was relieved to have found someone other than my brothers for me to spend time with. I had assumed I would hate being around another girl. Surely she wouldn't be able to play chess after all. But for some reason, I felt much less suffocated around her than my mother. I might have an inkling as to where this is going. I'm not going to say anything right now. One night, Amy's family and an array of nobles from both houses' social circles assembled at the estate for a party. A din the likes of which I had never heard in my life filled the great hall. Everywhere I looked, there were people. Servants scrambled every which way, silverware clanged against dishes in an almost constant hum. Voices from all directions. I felt moderately ill. I did give them accents, didn't I? Okay, I'll give them accents. Why not? I'm gonna stick with these two's voices, but I'm gonna give. Hey D, I feel like we're critically short on waiters. This doesn't look good for us. And who was it who went about inviting everyone he came across again? Who are these people? They're artistes like me. I met them at court. Let's see, we have some painters, composers, sculptors, troubadours, poets, writers, you name it. None of them have any connection to Joberts or Bollingers. Sure they do, they're my friends. And you know, this is me and Amy's party. You can play with your friends elsewhere. I hope you realize we have a reputation to uphold. Off in one corner, several men, presumably Georgette's friends, gathered in a circle. They stood out from the other aristocrats, both in appearance and the air they gave off. The clothes they wore, the embroidery hidden beneath their jacket cuffs, their manner of speech, the way they held themselves. They were, simply put, a far cry from the hard-headed Didier's ideal party guests. Even watching them from afar, it was clear my two brothers ran in very different crowds. The only reason headstrong Didier and free-spirited Georgette were able to get along well at all was because they were brothers. If they had been strangers, I doubt their paths would cross much, and if they did, those intersections would be quite rocky. Hey! Come here, guys! Georgette's shouting voice pulled my preoccupied mind back to the surface. He summoned his friends, then led them to where I stood. What are you doing hiding in the corner, Michelle? I didn't even notice you. Allow me to introduce you to a few of my friends. Oh, no, Georges put his hand on my shoulders, peeling me off the wall and standing me in front of his male friends. Socialization was the last thing on my mind. I searched for Didier, hoping he would come to my rescue, but he was off trading pleasantries, facing away from me. This is my baby sister, Michelle. Be nice. Georges, I don't... Graces, your skin is even more pale than I imagined. It's like something out of a fairy tale. And why have you never brought her to court with you? She'd sure be a hit. And how old are you? 12, maybe? Now, don't treat the lady like a child. I'll have you know she's 14. All the more reason she should be out here making friends. The whole court would flip if they knew you had such a gorgeous sister, Georges. Don't be a brute, my man. Our little angel has to be kept inside for personal reasons. Uh-oh. Sounds like I haven't been showing the lady her due respect. I've yet to even properly introduce myself. How rude indeed. Their laughs grated on my nerves, and so did the way Georges spoke as though I was his property. They looked like they were appraising me, which made me sick to my stomach. I'd been paying enough attention to notice the man who had asked if I was 12, and the rest of them too, examining me from head to toe in search of curves. I was, indeed, underdeveloped for 14. But what did that matter? I didn't want a body shaped like Amy's or my mother's. Now then, my lady, a proper greeting. The man got on one knee before me. For a split second, I didn't comprehend what he was doing. Go on, Michelle. He's waiting. He whispered in my ear. That was when it all came back to me. The traditional greeting performed between a man and a woman. Come on, Michelle. Don't tell me you forgot what to do. I knew. I knew the process. I had that knowledge. Mother had taught me the rules, shown me the procedure. I was to present my hand to the man, for him to kiss. All I had to do was hold out my hand, but I was frozen. My body fought tooth and nail against the simple act. The thought of that man putting his lips on my skin sent a chill through me. Why? Why was this a traditional greeting? Why did I have to go through this? Michelle! But at the sound of Georges' frantic voice, my arm creaked up from my side. Then I remembered that despite being his friends, there was still nobility. As wanton-as his social interactions may have been, he still had a reputation to maintain. And I understood that. I also understood that, as their sister, it was my responsibility not to do anything that might tarnish either of my brothers' names. Also, by tradition, the man wasn't supposed to actually kiss the woman's hand. The proper way to do it required he simply mimic the act, rather than making real contact. That much I could handle. The man kneeling before me gave me an uncomfortable chuckle at my reluctance, shrugged, and reverently took my hand in his. And then he pressed his lips firmly against my skin. There was a vaguely warm sensation on the back of my hand for the briefest moment. What are you? Reflexively, I smacked the man's hand away. Georges' eyes went wide in horror, and the man gave another playful shrug. I was merely offering you a greeting, my lady. Or is even that a new experience to you? Your innocence is truly precious. I was half a second away from throwing a barrage of insults, but I bit my tongue and stomped off instead. What? Michelle! Hey, come back, Michelle! I had spent all that time convincing myself I couldn't humiliate my brothers, but now I wouldn't hear a word of it. I had drawn a fair bit of attention, and other people tried to stop me too, but I brushed them all off, marching my way out of the great hall. Okay, let me kind of throw in where this is. Let me turn down my volume so I can fucking think. Okay, so clearly there was a reason that we were kicked out of the mansion. And I think it's pretty obvious at this point that the reason that was so is because Michelle's lesbian. Let's be blunt here. So clearly Michelle's discovering, oh well, you know, I'm watching Amy. I'm noticing. I'm the one noticing her curves and her supple lips and her slender fingers and all this stuff, yada yada yada. And I feel so comfortable and relaxed around her. But then with these men, right? with these men, I feel like, I feel like I'm being treated as an object. I feel like I'm being, kind of sized up. I'm being, I dare I say violated, right? And I think that this whole moment right here where, he kisses her hand, it's supposed to be this traditional greeting, which she doesn't like, obviously. So I'm thinking this could go one of two ways. This could either go the route of... Again, I really wouldn't be surprised if this happened to go the route of Michelle just declaring, like, hey, I feel more like I'm a man, or something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it went that direction. I also wouldn't be surprised if it went the direction of just, yeah, like, I like women kind of deal. And then family freaks out, sends her off. But again, with how much gender has been, like, specified in this whole thing, I think it's going to be more the previous. Excuse me. I feel so dirty. You call that a greeting? No, that was no greeting. That was... I'll be taking that. I say, practically swiping a glass of water off a passing waiter's tray. With it, I washed my hand by the window facing the courtyard. But no matter how much water I poured over it, I couldn't erase the sickening sensation of his mouth on my hand. So I rubbed it with my sleeve until my skin was bright red. I wanted to feel something else. Anything else. Even pain. Think before you act, Georges. What were you doing inviting people like that into our home? I was angry, and I had every right to be. He had not performed the proper greeting. Even in jest, he had no business actually putting his lips on my hand. It was not acceptable behavior for an aristocrat. He was a guest. He should have been ashamed. Was I angry that he had been disrespectful? No, that wasn't the reason. It was... That wasn't very nice of you running off like that. At the sound of his voice, I couldn't turn back. I felt the sickening warmth almost directly against my back. The man from the great hall grabbed me by my wrist, spun me around, and pressed me against the wall. Oh, fuck me. Don't tell me this. Oh, God, please. Please, we've already had to deal with this once, please. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, fuck me. Yeah, I know where this is going. I know where this is going. Oh. The bitter scent of wine wafted from above. What the hell are you doing? I tried a second time to get away from him, and that was when reality sunk in. I couldn't do it. All the strength I could muster wasn't enough to make the man's hand budge. My arms were locked in place. I didn't think he was especially strong either. He was hardly built like Didier, and still I couldn't move an inch. You've got a tongue like a boy, m'lady. But I know some people are fond of that these days. I can't say I mind it myself. Let go! Had I always been this feeble? Were my arms truly so worthless I couldn't even escape this brute's grip? Why did I have to get stuck with his body? Now, just so we're clear, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm no monster, I promise you that. Then why are you holding me against the wall? Because I want a chance to try and woo you. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable back there, but the second I laid eyes on you, I knew you were a keeper. Then let go of me! If I do that, you'll run away. And it's my personal rule to never let go of anything I like. Your brother says he can't go outside, so I've let you loose now. I might never get a chance to catch you again. I wanted to vomit. Apparently taking my silence for approval, the man perked up and kept going. If you're not accustomed to being around men, then why not use this as an opportunity to get familiar? Not a half-bad idea if I do say so myself. And I think we'd get along quite well. Besides, I'm a minstrel. Spend some time with me and I'll write you all the songs you could possibly want. Get away from me. Ah, you really do have the most striking eyes. Makes me want to keep them all for myself. With a muse like that, I could write the most incredible songs you've ever heard. I said get back, you creep! Huh, that's odd. That one's never failed me. The man brought his face just inches away from mine and peered into my eyes. I could feel his hot, wine-stench breath against my cheeks. It gave me the chills. I couldn't understand why this was happening to me. Panic and confusion had my heart racing. "Go try your luck with someone else. I'm not interested." "You will be soon enough, darling. You've simply never known a man's touch." He drew closer. He was already practically on top of me, but still he closed in. Closer and closer. The world faded out. I couldn't see anything. I could feel his rising body heat so near it made me nauseous. My eyes flung open, but there was nothing there. I could only feel. I couldn't move. My body wouldn't budge. In my mind, I kicked the man away, pulled my fist back and slammed it into his jaw, again and again and again until his face was unrecognizable. Again and again and again and again I beat him, but reality would have none of that. "Michelle! Hey, what do you think you're doing?" 3 seconds. 10 seconds. Longer. I had no idea how much time I had lost. But the next thing I knew, Georges had the man by the collar. I fell back against the wall, staring absent-mindedly as the two struggled. They traded blows and they traded insults. Before long, they had drawn a crowd. While they went at it, I distractedly drifted away. And I only had one place to go. Jeez, fuck me, man. I didn't even bother to light a candle. I just stared into the darkness. My heartbeat was maddeningly loud in my ears, in my otherwise silent chambers. What had happened? What had he done to me? Why couldn't I do anything? The last thing I wanted to do was cry. Tears would only serve to worsen my humiliation, only magnify how wretched I was, only make me more effete. I bit down on my lip hard. I had no need for that trash in my body. I dug my nails into my arms. I had no need for that trash in my body. All of this, every last bit of it. That was why I was the way I was. I didn't know how to put it into words. I didn't know how to express this boundless frustration within me. But after wordless groaning, a single word slipped from my lips, and it felt incredibly right. God damn it! I knew good and well a girl should not be using such words. Even Didier and Georges would have gotten an earful from mother if father if they were caught saying that. Regardless. God damn it! It was the most fitting word I could come up with to represent even the smallest bit of my anger and loathing. I knew all I was doing was shifting the blame, that all it would accomplish was making me look pitiful, but I would take that over crying like a girl any day. I let loose a sigh that was halfway to being a scream, then started clawing wildly at my hair. I wanted to yank out every last strand of it. I didn't want it. I didn't want any of it. Any of this body. But in that case, what did I want from my body? Michelle, may I come in, Michelle? It was Georges' voice, slightly muffled through the door. The man who had invited those people into this house. I'd be lying if I said I didn't hold that against him. Michelle. But at the same time, he had also come to my rescue. Besides, I hated myself the most. I despised myself for being so helpless. I'm sorry, Michelle. I didn't mean to hurt you. It's not locked. After a few moments of silence, Georges stepped into my room. Your hair's a mess, Michelle. And my God, you're bleeding. That was when I first noticed a stinging sensation in my lower lip. A metallic taste spread through my mouth. I'd been biting it much harder than I realized, and there was a lot more blood than I expected. A trail of it was running down my chin, seconds from spilling it on my clothes when Georges wiped it away. I'm really sorry, Michelle. He can be a real ass when he drinks. Oh, an ass? Oh yeah, that's what I'd call it. He's just an ass when he drinks. Like, bro, what? I'm sorry, I gotta control myself. And he's a bit of a womanizer at that. I never expected he'd try to go after you, though. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. But, there's a chance he may have, genuinely taken a liking to you. That just makes it worse! Sorry, you're right. You want to be with the man you like, I understand. He ran his hands through my hair, as if trying to calm me down, at the same time cleaning up the mess I'd made of it. It made me feel like I was some kind of plaything, a joke of a doll. I don't want to be with anyone. I would never, ever be comfortable with the man putting his hands on me like that. However, I'm sure you'll find someone eventually, Michelle. Someone that feels right for you. I feel kind of awful for introducing you to him, but there are plenty of men in the world. You might not be interested now, but that'll change soon. It's part of growing up. You'd be best off forgetting today ever happened. Wow. I'm speechless at that. Oh yeah, you're my sister and a drunk man forced himself onto you. But, just forget it ever happened. You'll find somebody better. What the fuck? That's crazy. I was dead certain, but apparently that wasn't enough to convince him. The very idea that I might one day meet a man who I wanted to touch made my skin crawl. Why? Why did I feel like this? Was I just not interested in men? No, if that were the case, I wouldn't admire my brother's bodies. I didn't have an aversion to men. In fact, I enjoyed spending time with my brothers far more than indulging my mother and her woman's world. What I couldn't stand was the particular look men would sometimes give me. But why? Why did I not like that? I had no answer. My thoughts were only going in circles. Are you okay, Michelle? He peered down at me, his face twisted in concern, but I couldn't answer him. How was I supposed to articulate this? My anger, my frustration, my irritation, my fear. I had no confidence he would understand. Georges, how's Michelle? Amy's voice came from the doorway. Inexplicably, I felt like someone had stuck their hand in my chest and was now squeezing my heart. Like I had just been caught in a compromising situation by the last person I wanted to see. Yeah, she's doing good. Aren't you? Yes, I'm fine. Glad to hear it. I was clearly lying, not even looking him in the eyes when I'd said it, but that seemed to have gone over Georges' head. Amy, on the other hand, "You don't look fine at all," she said, a hint of pain in her voice, and then entered the room. Georges, father was asking for you. He said it's time to bring the gathering to a close. You should get going. I'll stay here with her. Oh, is he? Alright then. Sounds good. Once the sound of Georges' footsteps had faded into nothing, Amy took a seat beside me and, without warning, wrapped her arms around my shoulders. It's much better to talk to another girl at times like this. My heart leapt into my throat. But beyond the shock, I also found myself welcoming the warmth. It was pleasant, unlike the man's. That must have been terrifying. But don't worry, you're safe now. It wasn't really... No. No need to pretend, sweetie. If a man had pinned me against the wall, I'd be scared too. I mean it. I wasn't scared. I'm just disappointed in myself. Alright, I believe you. You're a strong girl, Michelle. There aren't many who wouldn't have been scared. I'll be sure to give Georges a stern talking to about his choice in friends. Something I learned today is he's somewhat of a pushover. You're a lot more tenacious than I thought. As a woman in this world, you have to be. And if you're not, well, you'll figure it out soon enough, Michelle. Of course, even as strong as you are, I'm sure it'll still be difficult to forget what happened to you today. See, look, there we go. Georges had told me to forget it as soon as possible. and Amy that I wouldn't be able to? Was it the difference in their individual perspectives, or was it the difference between the way men and women thought? I wasn't sure. As my head rested against her breast, a bit of my frustration slipped out. I couldn't move my arms at all. He didn't even seem all that strong. I couldn't believe that I was really so weak. And that's just the way of the world, Michelle. Men are physically stronger than women, so you'll almost never overpower one. You're not any weaker than a normal girl. Don't blame yourself. Though it wasn't the consolation I had hoped for, her words still filled me with warmth. I had exploited my weakness to her more of that soothing voice, and I alone knew how foolish I was in doing so. Drama. Amy frequently visited my chambers. I didn't know if it was at Mother's request or of her own volition, but I prayed that it was the latter. She was a very touchy-feely person, and she seemed to have a particular fondness for playing with my hair. Whenever her voice danced its way into my ears, it would wreak havoc inside me. Being enveloped in her scent day after day stoked the fire growing within me. I did my best to remain as straight-faced as possible, because the last thing I wanted was her catching on. I understood that this thing I was feeling were untoward, to say the least. Your hair is so utterly enchanting. I've never seen hair so white before. I think having color is much prettier. Oh? Well, Georgette says white is the most difficult color to make with paint. There's no greater challenge than capturing the beauty of true white. Living with such a splendid example of the color must have given him a pretty high standard of quality. Say, Michelle, maybe you could tell me more about yourself today. I would love to get to know you better. Tell you about myself? Yeah, we could even become better friends if we found some mutual interests. I enjoy playing chess, and I consider myself quite good. Oh my, chess? I've never played. You're such a bright girl, Michelle. Would you like to try? I could teach you. I appreciate the offer, but I think I'll pass. I doubt I'd be any good. Oh, okay. What else is there? Say, your favorite kind of flower, fragrance, color of gemstone. Are there any embroidery patterns you're particularly skilled at? I don't have any favorites, no. And I'm not especially good with the needle either. No? Do you have shaky hands then? I wouldn't say that, no. I'm, fairly good with a knife, I think. A knife? Oh, like a kitchen knife? No, a sculpting knife. Sculpting? Is that really so strange? It is a bit unusual, I'd say. But Georges does it all the time. His room is practically made of wood chips and charcoal and paint. Georges is an artist, and a man. There's nothing unusual about him doing some sculpting. Why is it okay for him, but not me? Does being a girl really make that much of a difference? Well, why don't we practice embroidery together, Michelle? I get the feeling you spent too much time with your brothers. But now you have me. I'm sure it won't take long before you appreciate how much fun cooking and needlework can be. She sounds just like Mother. And she gives the same reason, too. Because I'm a girl. But that's not an explanation. It's a vague generalization. That said, if I agree, I could spend more time with her. Okay. Wonderful. We'll come up with beautiful designs together. And when you've made something you're proud of, you can give it to a boy who catches your eye. Or if you prefer, you could give it to your father or brother. I would like Georges to have what I make, though. Oh, I've been wondering, did you and Georges meet at the royal court? Oh heavens, no! I've never been to the court. One day my father told me I was getting married, and the next day is when we first met. It happened that quickly? What? Are you worried about me, Michelle? Don't worry. I'm not displeased with the arrangement. In fact, I'm quite happy with it. Aristocratic marriages are almost always sudden. And as a woman, you get used to being a piece in their games. But Georges, he's different. He's a gentleman. A gentleman? Him? You sound surprised. I believe hedonist suits him better. Oh, I quite disagree. I've complete faith he'll do good by me. I couldn't fathom where she found such confidence in him, especially a man she'd only just met. How could she trust him at all? She was nothing but a pawn and she knew it, so maybe she was simply putting on an act. I had trouble believing her smile was anything but genuine, though. One day you'll meet the right man for you, Michelle, and he won't be a drunk like the guy from earlier. He'll be a kind, hard-working, respectable man. I would rather not find anyone. I suppose this is all too soon for you, huh? Say, how old are you, Michelle? 14. Oh wow, I assumed you were younger. Do I really look that young? No hard feelings. You're just like a tiny little doll, so small and slender. And look, not one bit of meat up here at all. Hey! She playfully grabbed me from behind and started prodding at my chest. As her delicate fingers slid across my skin, I found myself gripped by very indecent urges. Every heavy thump of my heart felt sinful. She couldn't know. I couldn't let her. Everything I had been fighting to keep down came hurtling to the surface. You're so cold, you know that? She was touching me like it was nothing, caressing my hair. Was she this intimate with Georges? Or was it because I was a younger girl that she's been so keen on putting her hands all over me? Before I understood what I was feeling, my body acted. Oh no, here we go! This is gonna be big! It was pure, unfiltered impulse. In my attempt to escape from her grip, I twisted around only to find my face inches from Amy's. Slowly gravitating closer, I pressed my lips against the corner of her mouth. Amy sat there, flabbergasted. I was equally aghast. I'm sorry. As I frantically put some distance between us, I'm sure my face was red as an apple, though I didn't know it at the time. Well, that was slightly unexpected. I'm sorry. Did I make you feel uncomfortable touching you so much? Amy was smiling, though it looked forced. No, not at all. Then I must have startled you. I'm sorry. If I'd let you go sooner, we could have avoided this accident. What do you mean, accident? A kiss on the lips is... It wasn't an accident. It wasn't... Amy... I seem to have confused you somewhat, Michelle. What? I know I can be very touchy-feely with you, and you took that to mean you should do the same. No. You can't do that again, alright? If you want to kiss your friends, you should do it on the cheek. Save the lips for the man you love. I should get going then. Georges starts to get cranky if I don't give him enough attention. Hold on, Amy. So long, Michelle. She wouldn't hear me out. Once Amy had fled my chambers, that was when I finally comprehended my own emotions, that she had stolen my heart. But Amy was Georges' fiancée. No, that wasn't the problem. My body, was not meant for her to love. Ah, I see. So this is kind of a thing where it's like, well, in this specific scenario, the only body that Amy could love is that of a man's. So therefore, Michelle became, in air quotes for the time being, a man. Which obviously, you know, that worked because Giselle happened. So you kind of see where that inspiration for her becoming a man would be. But again, we still don't know to what extent that really goes. So we'll see. I woke in the middle of the night to a pain in my joints. Not enough exercise, I guess. I tried bending and stretching my arms and legs, but it did nothing. So after pondering on it for a bit, I decided to go for a late night walk to distract myself. As I approached the corridor adjacent to the courtyard, I heard a woman's voice. I'm still concerned about staying here. Amy's voice. Doing my best to remain perfectly quiet, I pressed myself up against the wall by the window and listened in on their conversation. I knew it was improper to eavesdrop, but the sound of her voice had me frozen in place. It's Michelle. I'm afraid I've confused her. A tiny jolt ran down my spine, my muscles all tensing up at once, the sound of my name rising to her lips, but not in the way I would have liked. She kissed me. Well, almost, but how could I have guessed that she thought of me that way? Mother told me she didn't have any female friends, and asked me to be one for her, which is why... So she had only been coming to see me because Mother had asked her to. I'd been afraid of that. Afraid that she wasn't there to be with me. That she had no fondness for me. That my yearning for her was one-sided. She kind of scares me, the way she looks at me. Always watching every little move I make. I'm sensitive to that sort of thing. I can tell what's going through Michelle's mind. I managed to deflect it this time, but I should have never gotten friendly with her. She'd seen through me from day one. Understood what I was feeling before even I had ever had. It's disgusting. Homosexuality? Homosexuality. Did I hear her right? Something inside me crumbled, and with it came an intense sense of wrongness. There it was again, that overpowering discomfort, that fear coursing through my veins, that repulsion, that irritation, that apprehension. What on earth was I? Did I view Amy as a member of the same sex? Were the things I felt homosexual? I heard Amy sigh from beyond the window. Then the man beside her, who she was confiding all this in, replied, She's still just a child. That voice, and one with underdeveloped social skills besides, understand that she's going to do and say some inappropriate things. It's not uncommon for a child to mistake admiration for love. And I didn't know this until recently, but when she gets something into her head, she has a tendency to run with it without thinking. Was not the man as I assumed it was? It was, did he? I had a feeling. The other day, she asked me to let her be a knight. I can't imagine how she thought that would end any other way. Why? It's not very often there are other women than Mother at the estate. I imagine she simply got nervous being around you and got something mixed up in her head. Why was Didier out there with her? I hope that's all it was. Amy, hadn't you told me you thought Georges was a gentleman? So what were you doing, getting so friendly with Didier? And Didier, wasn't she my ally? Or was that all an act like her? You were going to be a knight. So why were you out here with your brother's fiancée? I'm glad to have you here, so I hope you can figure something out to make it work. I'll do what I can. And I'm kind of reluctant to say this to you, but something has to change. As it is, she kind of grosses me out. Ooh. That was the kill shot. That was the kill shot. She grosses me out. So what? I was some kind of sick, disgusting creature. All I had done was shown feelings for her. I couldn't be Georges or Didier. The needles piercing me expanded, both in size and number. Soon I was being skewered by a dozen of them, and the heated sighs rising from the courtyard only served to make the pain worse. All I could do was cover my ears and run. Excuse me. Drama! maybe, throwing it out there, maybe that's why Didier killed Michelle. Because obviously at this kind of point in time, it wouldn't be very uncommon for them to kind of throw out the term, like, oh, you're, like, you have the devil in you, right? That kind of deal. But yeah, kind of interesting, because again, it's one of those things where we assume Didier was the one who killed Michelle. Like, I think that's a little bit self-explanatory at this point, now that we've kind of discovered he's a knight. So maybe he killed Michelle because she had found out that he was, you know, hooking up with his brother's fiance, or maybe it's because of this whole homosexuality thing. Why? What are you doing out there, Didier? How am I gross, Amy? It's not real. It's all a bunch of lies. His entire house is nothing but a fraud. None of it was ever real. The family gatherings, Amy's smiles, Didier's kindness, Georges. What about Georges? Did he agree to the marriage knowing about them? What the hell are they thinking? You want to know who's really disgusting? God damn it! I will not cry. I will not cry. I can't let myself. Girls cry. Tears are for girls, not for me. I bit down hard on my lip, wrapped myself in my sheets, and pressed my hands hard over my ears, squeezed my eyes shut as tight as I could manage, tried to get away from the things I'd seen. Images of them embracing in the night threatened to float back to the surface, but I shook my head, casting them off. Praying I wouldn't have any nightmares, I drifted off to sleep. Damn. God damn. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and stop there. Oh my god. Okay, we're gonna go and save. Oop, wrong thing. Okay. Wow. Okay, so a lot happened. So, I feel like, well, initially I kind of got that impression that this was gonna be how it all played out, right? She eventually discovers, hey, I don't actually like men in a romantic way. Now, women, on the other hand, well, that's my alley. So, yeah, now they're tossing out these terms of homosexuality. What more so interests me, though, is the whole gender thing, right? Because she said, like, it's not that I don't like men. So it's not like she hates men or anything like that. She hates the way that some men look at her as an object and a plaything. But she doesn't hate men. She doesn't necessarily feel uncomfortable around men or, you know, repulsed by man. But at the same time, she has mentioned the thought of her ever liking a man is disgusting to her. That's what she finds like gives her the heebie-jeebies. So in that respect, yes, she likes women. But also I think it extends a little bit further and goes into the whole, like, you know, like, oh, like, mother, I am your son. I think to extend into that, it's clearly a thing at this point where she feels like she wants to be a man, is what I'm getting at. On kind of all fronts, because she wants to be a man because if she's a man, women will like her, and she likes women. If she's a man, she will be able to do all the things a man is allowed to do instead of being restricted by what women can't do. Or, well, more accurately, aren't allowed to do. If she's a man, she can be strong enough to throw another man off of her. So all these things kind of building up. But yeah. So again, we still kind of have to figure out what the extent of it is. Because there was a moment, because again, when Giselle had like gotten naked in front of her, I don't fully remember if they both got like freaky with it or if it was just Giselle. I'm not 100% sure. So because I'm not sure, maybe if one of you guys could remind me in the comments, that'd be awesome. But it could either be one or the other, being like an actual man or identifying as a man. You get what I'm kind of getting at? So it's like a physical, and there's a physical side to it where it's like, nope, you're straight up a guy, or the other side to it where it's like, yeah, but I'm a woman, but I cross-dress as a man and identify as a man kind of deal. So we'll find out. That's some stuff we're going to find out, but that's going to be stuff we're going to find out in the next episode, hopefully. Anyways, that's going to be for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. And tell me in the comment section below what you'd like to see me play next. If you enjoyed this video or any of the videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll be notified when another one of those videos comes out. Anyways, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!